At 14 years old, she was performing in front of small crowds that barely paid attention. She would sing her heart out, pour every emotion into the lyrics, and step off stage wondering if anyone truly cared. There were no sold-out stadiums, no private jets, no billion-dollar empire, no screaming fans filling arenas across continents. Just a teenage girl from Pennsylvania with a guitar, a dream, and a level of determination that most people would never understand. Years later, the world would know her as Taylor Swift, one of the most successful artists in music history. A woman whose songs would define generations, break records, and reshape an entire industry. But before the fame, before the money, before becoming a global phenomenon, Taylor Swift was a young girl desperately trying to convince the world that she belonged. Taylor Allison Swift was born in Reading, Pennsylvania, and raised on a Christmas tree farm in nearby Wyoming. It sounds like the beginning of a fairy tale, peaceful, picturesque, simple. But fairy tales rarely tell the full story. From an early age, Taylor was different. While other children dreamed casually about becoming famous, she obsessed over songwriting. She didn't just enjoy music, she studied it, she analyzed it. She became fascinated by how a few words and a melody could make someone cry, smile, remember, or heal. Music wasn't entertainment to her, it was power. As a child, she looked up to country artists and imagined herself on those stages one day. But imagination alone wasn't enough. She knew that if she wanted something extraordinary, she would have to do something extraordinary. While most kids spent weekends playing games or hanging out with friends, Taylor spent hours writing lyrics. She carried notebooks everywhere. Ideas became songs, emotions became stories, experiences became verses. She was building a skill long before the world noticed her. The problem was that the music industry wasn't waiting for her. In fact, it had no interest in her at all. Nashville was filled with talented people chasing the exact same dream. Thousands of aspiring artists arrived every year believing they were special. Most failed, most disappeared, most returned home with nothing but disappointment. And Taylor understood this reality earlier than most people. She knew talent wasn't enough. Hard work wasn't enough. Even passion wasn't enough. To survive, she would need resilience. At just 11 years old, she traveled to Nashville with demo recordings, hoping someone would listen. She knocked on doors that didn't open. She met people who smiled politely and moved on. She faced rejection after rejection. Imagine being a child and hearing, directly or indirectly, that your dream isn't important enough, that your voice isn't unique enough, that your future isn't worth investing in. Most people would have quit. Most parents would have encouraged a safer path. But Taylor wasn't most people. She continued writing, continued learning, continued believing. Her family eventually made a decision that changed everything. They moved to Tennessee to give her a better chance at pursuing music. Think about how massive that sacrifice was. Leaving behind familiarity, stability, comfort, betting on the dream of a teenager. That's not something families do unless they truly believe. But moving to Nashville didn't magically create success. In many ways, it made things harder. Now, the dream was closer, which also meant failure felt closer. Every audition mattered. Every meeting mattered. Every opportunity mattered. She was surrounded by people who were just as ambitious and often more experienced. The pressure increased, expectations increased, the stakes increased. What separated Taylor from others wasn't just her voice, it was her writing. While many young artists were waiting for opportunities, Taylor was creating them. She wrote constantly, not because someone told her to, not because a label demanded it. She wrote because she had to. Songwriting became her language, her diary, her therapy, her weapon. Eventually, she caught the attention of industry professionals. But even then, success wasn't guaranteed. The industry saw potential, but potential is not the same as belief. There were concerns. She was young, inexperienced, unproven. Could she really connect with audiences? Could she really build a career? Could she really compete? Then came her self-titled debut album, and something extraordinary happened. People listened. Not because the production was revolutionary, not because she had the biggest voice in country music. People listened because she was honest. Taylor wrote about experiences that felt real. First crushes, heartbreak, insecurity, hope. She wasn't performing a character, she was sharing herself, and audiences felt that authenticity immediately. But here's the part people forget. Success creates enemies. As Taylor's popularity grew, criticism grew with it. Suddenly, people who ignored her before had opinions about everything she did. Her songwriting, her appearance, her voice, her relationships. The internet began dissecting her life piece by piece. And fame at a young age is dangerous because you're still figuring out who you are while millions of people tell you who they think you should be. Then came one of the most famous moments in pop culture history, the 2009 MTV Video Music Awards. Taylor had just won an award, a career-defining moment, a moment she had worked years to achieve. Then, in front of millions, her speech was interrupted, publicly, unexpectedly, humiliatingly. For many artists, that moment would have become a scar. For Taylor, it became fuel, because one thing became clear. No matter what she achieved, someone would always try to diminish it. Someone would always question it. Someone would always try to take the moment away. And that realization changed her. Over the next decade, she evolved relentlessly, album after album, reinvention after reinvention. Country became pop. Pop became global domination. Every time people thought they understood her, she changed. Every time critics predicted her decline, she found another level. But success came with a cost. People saw the awards. They didn't see the pressure. People saw the sold-out tours. They didn't see the exhaustion. People saw the headlines. They didn't see the loneliness. Because there is a hidden burden that comes with becoming one of the most famous people on earth. Every mistake becomes international news. Every relationship becomes public property. Every opinion becomes controversial. There is no off switch. Taylor lived under a microscope, and eventually the pressure became overwhelming. The criticism intensified, narratives formed. Social media exploded with negativity. People who had never met her suddenly acted like experts on her character. For a period of time, it felt like the entire internet had turned against her. Imagine working your entire life to achieve success only to become one of the most criticized people in the world. That's exactly what happened. And for the first time, Taylor disappeared. She stepped away. The noise became too loud. The scrutiny became too heavy. The world that once celebrated her now seemed determined to tear her down. Most careers don't survive moments like that. Most public figures spend years trying to recover. Many never do. But Taylor made a different decision. Instead of fighting every accusation, she focused on rebuilding herself, quietly, privately, patiently. And then she returned. Not with excuses, not with apologies, with music. Reputation wasn't just an album. It was a statement, a declaration that she would no longer allow other people to define her story. It was the sound of someone taking back control of their narrative, and the world listened again. Because despite all the criticism, despite all the controversy, despite all the attempts to diminish her, one truth remained. She was extraordinary, not because she was perfect, because she was resilient. The years that followed only strengthened her position. More albums, more records, more success. But perhaps the most impressive chapter of her story hadn't happened yet. Then came one of the boldest moves in modern music history. Taylor discovered that she didn't fully own the masters of the music she had spent her life creating. For many artists, this would have been the end of the conversation. A disappointing reality, an unfortunate business decision, something to accept. Taylor refused. Instead of accepting it, she declared war on the system. Not through anger, not through lawsuits, through strategy. She decided to re-record her own albums. Think about how insane that sounded at the time. One of the biggest artists in the world voluntarily recreating years of work from scratch. The industry didn't know if it would succeed. Critics doubted it. Analysts questioned it. But Taylor understood something powerful. Ownership matters. Legacy matters. And if nobody was going to give her control, she would take it back herself. The result was historic. Millions of fans supported her mission. The re-recordings became massive successes. What looked impossible became inevitable. And in doing so, she changed the conversation around artist ownership forever. That is the difference between a celebrity and an icon. Celebrities adapt to the system. Icons force the system to adapt to them. Today, people see the billionaire status, the private jets, the record-breaking tours, the influence, the headlines. But none of those things explain her success. The real reason Taylor Swift became Taylor Swift has nothing to do with money. It has everything to do with endurance. Because long before the world believed in her, she believed in herself. Long before the sold-out stadiums, she was writing songs alone. Long before the Grammys, she was facing rejection. Long before the billion-dollar empire, she was a teenager trying to convince people she mattered. And that's the lesson hidden inside her story. Everyone wants success. Few people are willing to survive what success requires. The rejection, the humiliation, the criticism, the loneliness, the years where nobody understands your vision. Most people quit during that phase. Taylor didn't. She kept writing, kept creating, kept evolving, kept fighting. And every obstacle that was supposed to stop her became another chapter in the story. Because greatness isn't built during moments of victory. It's built during moments of doubt, during moments of rejection, during moments where quitting feels reasonable. And before Taylor Swift became one of the most powerful entertainers in history, she was simply a young girl with a guitar, a notebook, and a dream that refused to die. And that is what comes before the glory.